Before we begin, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Monica Gita Konipa, and I will be your Master of Ceremony for today's workshop. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to extend our highest respect to Muhammad Sayuti, MPD, MED, PhD, Dean of Faculty of Teacher Training and Education, Universitas Ahmad Dahlan, Dr. Ani Susanti, MPDBI, Vice Dean of Faculty of Teacher Training and Education, Universitas Ahmad Dahlan, Sucipto, MPDBI, PhD, Head of English Education Study Program, Universitas Ahmad Dahlan, Dr. Ikmi Nur Oktavianti, MH, Head of Master of Program English Education, Universitas Ahmad Dahlan, David Wijaya, PhD, FHEA from Nanyang Technological University, our distinguished speaker, respected lecturers and invited guests, and all participants of today's workshop. Welcome to the Academic Publication Workshop conducting Publishable ELT research. Ladies and gentlemen, to begin our event and to express our love and respect to our nation and institution, let us sing Indonesia Raya followed by Sang Surya. I invite all participants to kindly rise. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the next agenda is the recitation of Holy Quran, which will be delivered by Fikrotus Sofia. To Fikrotus Sofia, time is yours.
Bismillah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Tabarakalladzi biyadihil mulku wa huwa ala kulli syai'in qadir. Alladzi khalaqal mauta wal hayata liyabluwakum ayyukum ahsanu amala wa huwal azizul ghafur. Alladzi khalaqa sab'a samawatin tibaqa ma tara fi khalqir rahmani min tafawut farji'al basara hal tara min futur thumma rji'al basara karrataini yanqalib ilaikal basaru khasi'a wa huwa hasir. Walaqad zayyana as-samaa'a ad-dunya bimasabiha waja'alnaha rujuman lisyayatin wa'atadna lahum 'adzabas sa'ir walilladzina kafaru birabbihim 'adzabu jahannam wa bi'sal masir. Idza ulqu fiha sami'u laha shahiqan wa hiya tafur takadu tamayyazu minal ghaidh kullama ulqiya fiha fawjun sa'alahum khazanatuha alam ya'tikum nadhir. Qalu bala qad ja'ana nadhir fakadzabna wa qulna ma nazzalallahu min syai' in antum illa fi dhalalin kabir. Shadaqallahul azim. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Fikrotus Sofia, for the beautiful recitation. May the verse recited today bring blessings, guidance, and benefit to all of us. Amin. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall now proceed the welcoming remarks. The welcoming speech will be delivered by Vice Dean of the Faculty of Teacher Training Education Universitas Ahmad Dahlan, Dr. Ani Susanti MPDBI. To Dr. Ani Susanti MPDBI, for the floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable, our special guest today, Mr. David Wijaya, PhD, and also the head of MPBI, Dr. Ikmi Nur Oktavianti, and some lecturers Miss Kiki, PhD, as the secretary of the study programs, and also Miss Ratri, Miss Aurelia, and everyone here as the students of undergraduate and also Magister of English Educations in UAD. First of all, I would like to say welcome to Mr. David Wijaya to UAD, to Jogja, and to Indonesia. I thought you have already forgot Indonesian song, lagu Indonesia Raya. When I was standing there with Mr. David, he still remember all the detail of the lyric, because Mr. David Wijaya, as I read your CV, seems that you've been long time away from Indonesia. Beliau itu S1-nya saja mungkin di Indonesia ya, S2, S3 dan another professional development-nya sampai sekarang itu di internasional di beberapa negara. Nanti kita belajar dari beliaunya. And I'll also to greet all the participants, both the students in undergraduate and also the magister. Yang S2 yang mana? Semua S2? Oh, oke. Sebagian dari S1? Undergrad? Okay, yeah. Is this all UAD students or from outside? Only UAD, ya. Yang sesi siang ya, nanti yang mix ya. Okay. Welcome to all the students. I know that Saturday should be your holiday, but now you should be here to learn and to refresh, and we are going to share listen together the workshop, which is quite think this is very important ya. Publikasi Ilmiah, publishing our research, our ideas, because here in Indonesia this is one of the requirement for you to graduate in both in undergraduate and also in graduate or magister. And for lectures, this is also one of the career promotions, one of the requirement. But the most important thing, everyone, is not only a matter of instrumental how to write the publications or academic publications to reach the next level of career or to graduate. The most important is that you are becoming the more skillful persons, because it's been informed that in this economy and in these situations, only three kinds of persons that are exist. The first one is the skillful workers, skillful learners. The second one is the superstar. Are you superstar? And the third one is the owner or the capital or the CEO. So you only choose one of the three. Are you the skillful learner, skillful worker, or are you the superstar, or are you the CEO? I think the most easiest way to be exist in this economy is number one, to be the learners. Instead, you are going to be forgotten by all the people. And the next, I would like to thanks to all the committee and all the organizer to have this kind of activity. I think this is very great activities. It's a pleasure for us to stay here and invite. I think this is the first time we invite Mr. David, yeah. And we are very honored that you can spend your time here. To stay in Jogja is not enough, only 1 or 2 days. Should be 1 week here. Should be 1 week. And we hope that this is not the only activity we share, because we hope we can continue our collaborations into other activities like joint research, and also we have journals, which is already one in Scopus Q21, Q2 LTech, and also AJES in Sinta 2, Sintato now at the moment. We hope that we can invite Mr. David to be one of the reviewer or editor or board of editor, so that we can get more stronger in the linguistics, applied linguistics sections especially. Today there are two kinds of workshop. The first workshop is in the morning with the students about the academic publications, and in the afternoon we are going to have the workshop for teaching and learning, especially in cognitive linguistics, and that would be started after Zuhur, yeah, at around after lunchtime at 1. And the participants would be not only internal UAD, there will be participants from outside. Most of them are teachers, so alumni of our study program. So, yang hadir pagi boleh hadir siang? Boleh ya? Boleh double ya? Oke. Register ya? Oke, ya. Kalau yang belum register mungkin dari luar nanti ya, nyimaknya ya. And I also to greet the other participants in the YouTube, because we make these programs in streaming, in YouTube streaming. Hopefully there you can clearly listen all the explanations and all the discussions during the workshop. And the next I would like to introduce that our faculty for FKIP. We talk about FKIP ya. FKIP Fakultas Keguruan apa tadi? Isinya perempuan. Valid ya, because there are only three male students ya. Fakultas Keguruan isinya perempuan. I learned from Mr. David just now. And that's 4 sama Mas Dio ya. Ya. Yeah. In our FKIP UAD we have 19 study programs, and English education is 2 of them, the S1 degree and S2 degree, and the other are many study programs like elementary and also science and also civics and counseling. We have 19. Hopefully in the future it's not only English department that can collaborate with NTU. Send our best regard to the Board of Management in NTU so that other study program can also collaborate with the different divisions in the NTU. Our visions here at the moment is that internationalizations. Yeah, we opened some programs that send the students to have a teaching practice abroad, and we also send some teachers to have a teachers exchange in some our partner universities. But to Singapore, do we have NTU? NEA is under the NTU, right? It's not that easy to send the students there or to send the teachers there, because they have very strict regulations on that, and also many things that we need to learn and to discuss more, so that more engaged collaborations can happen in the future. And thank you for everyone. Hopefully the workshops is fruitful. I'm sure that everyone, especially the magister students, you have the draft from the class. Some in my class and some also other teachers have draft. So you can finish the draft during the workshop. I mean, the way you select the reference, which is the quality reference, and which until you are practicing making the title page, and also the cover letter, you can learn a lot from high quality reference until how do we use the AI so that our paper is not AI sounds, not AI, not, yeah, we can make it humanized, yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Hope we can enjoy and have a fruitful workshop. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Ani Susanti, for inspiring and encouraging remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin the main session, we will have a photo session and short coffee break for 15 minutes. I kindly invite the Dean, Vice Dean, Head of Study Program, and our distinguished speaker, moderator, committee members, and all participants to join the photo session. Ya, silahkan maju ke depan. Di depan apa belakang? Please stand up, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Peserta bisa ke ruangan di sebelah kiri ruangan ini, silahkan keluar, nanti ada ruangan sebelah kiri. Kita akan memulai lagi pada pukul 9.15. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are now entering the main session of today's workshop. It's a great honor for us to have Mr. David Wijaya, PhD, FHEA from Nanyang Technological University as our distinguished speaker. Today's session will be guided by Dio Fahmi Al-Faridi. Dio Fahmi Al-Faridi graduate from English Language Education Program for 7th semester through journal publication. And Dio Fahmi Al-Faridi took juniors high school and senior high school in Saudi Arabia. Without further ado, I would like to hand over the session to the moderator, Dio Fahmi Al-Faridi. Time is yours.
Cek. Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Okay, how are you guys feeling today? Oh, you feeling excited for today's session? Well, of course. What an exciting day, right? Okay. So today's workshop is about academic publication, conducting publishable ELT research, and this workshop will focus on how to design, conduct or write a high quality paper, and perhaps some of you here maybe decided to upload the article or to the journals and as the final project. So this will help you a lot. And the workshop aims to help participants to produce research that meets academic standards and increases the chances of publication in reputable journals. Yet before we call our keynote speaker today, let me read the CV first, of course. Our keynote speaker today is Mr. David Wijaya, PhD, and he is a lecturer in the Indonesian program in the Center for Modern Languages, School of Humanities, Nanyang Technological University, Singapore. And in 2012 and until 2013, he took Master of Education in Teaching English as a Second Language in Boston University, United States of America. And he received Kelly Elizabeth Stephens Scholarship for master degree. And in 2019 to 2023, he took his PhD or Doctor of Philosophy in Applied Linguistics in the University of Queensland, Australia. And he also received research training scholarship for PhD level, the University of Queensland. Of course, regarding to work and experience, there are a lot of them. And one of them is a lecturer in Nanyang Technological University, Singapore since February 2026 until present. And an adjunct lecturer and sessional academic in Indonesian studies since January 2025 until present. And also he was an associate lecturer in Indonesian studies in the University of Sydney from January 2023 until December 2024. And a lecturer in English Education Department in Universitas Atmajaya from 2014 until 2019. And during his time as a thesis supervisor at UAJ or Universitas Atmajaya, he collaborated with a student and succeeded in developing ELT research and publishing it in Q1 and Q2 journals, such as International Review of Applied Linguistics in Language Teaching or IRAL, and also English Teaching and Learning and Journal of Asia TEFL. Not only that, he's also a reviewer for several Q1 journals like Computer Assisted Language Learning, Australian Review of Applied Linguistics, Journal of English for Academic Purposes, and etc. And also he has published numerous journal articles as well, including number marking in L2 English of the speakers of two classifiers languages, a learner corpus study published in Australian Review of Applied Linguistics. So that's only one of the examples. There are a lot of them. If I read it a lot, I think it's not enough for today. Yeah. And all right. Okay. Without any further ado, please please give applause to our keynote speaker, Mr. David Wijaya, PhD.
Yeah, thank you, Mas Fahmi,
Yeah,
for
thank you,
introducing me. And thank you for the invitation. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you, Ibu Dr. Ikmi, and then for reaching out to me and inviting me to deliver workshops here at Universitas Ahmad Dahlan. And then thank you, Bu Tri, for accompanying me during our tea time. And then I also would like to extend my sincere gratitude for to Ibu Dr. Ani, who has who delivered a very, I think, a very important and inspiring message in her opening remarks. Yeah. So actually, what Ibu Ani said was the reason why I'm here. So when I was a teacher, I was a teacher, a school teacher. I was a school teacher. So I'm still a teacher. I was a school teacher from 2005 until 2012. So I was a school teacher for 7 years. And then one day I asked my friend, I wanted to be famous. I told my friends that I want to be famous, but I know I don't have the face, I don't have the acting capabilities. And so he said, yeah, then you should get a master's degree. Wow, that's a really unique way to become famous, get a master's degree. But then he said that I think it's better for you to do it abroad, because I don't know, back even until now maybe, but I don't think where you graduated from is that important. What's important is the skills and qualities you have. You can graduate from any university, but the skills that you have determine where you are. So here I am now, and yeah. So without further ado, I mean, I've been introduced by Mas Fahmi, and I think that's enough for me. So well, let's just get started. Yeah. So move on. Thank you. Next. Okay, so you can just scan the QR code, or if you use your laptop or tablet, then just enter the event code. How many are there? How many? 53. Okay, so we'll wait until 53 participants are in. Of those on YouTube land, please let me know if I cannot be heard clearly. Okay, so lots of workshops have focused on how to write academically. I mean, how to write academically well. So how to improve our academic writing so that our research can be published. I haven't been in such workshop, but by looking at the the focus, sometimes it's explicitly written. The focus of the workshop is academic writing. I'm not saying it's not. It is really important. It is one of the most important things in publications, but it's not enough. Okay, it's not enough. You can write really well academically, but you can get desk rejected. By desk rejected, I mean the editor returns your paper without sending it to the reviewers. So the whole publication system is like this. You submit your manuscript to a journal, and then the editor or the associate editor will read your abstract and then see the value of your paper. And if they think your writing, your abstract is good enough to be, has potential to be published in their journal, then they will send it out to reviewers. And reviewers must not know who you are, and you must not know who they are. Okay, and the system is called blind peer review. So the reviewers don't know who you are, and that's important to ensure integrity. So they don't have any bias. So if that's rejected, that means the editor doesn't see any value in our paper. And you know, the paper that we have written is pretty much like our own baby. if you have kids later, we raised our baby, right? We nurture it. We put our minds and thoughts into it so that it can be useful. I mean, the baby can grow up to be a useful person. But then the editor just said, no, it's not good enough. So it is heartbreaking, but it is also a chance for us to learn more about not about publication itself, but about many things important in our life, such as critical thinking, and then presenting evidence. So let's move on. Yeah, next. Yeah. So let's start with topics, because I think the most difficult step is probably determining the topic, right? So which topics are not researchable? Okay, so next, please. Yeah, it's can you see it in your phone? Which topics are not researchable? Oh, good. But that's a skill that will be really useful in your job place, in workplace. Yeah. Can you submit multiple times, or can you just one? Ah, okay, my bad. Can you? You can. All right. Yeah. Good. Yeah. I think. Yeah. If you can still submit other answers, then go do it. I'm gonna wait until 50 maybe. So if you haven't already, please do it now. You know, one of the tips in answering questions? Tips or trick? What's the difference? Tips and trick. If there are multiple options, which one is more likely to be the correct answer? The one which is the longest, yes. So the longest option is usually the positive answer. But the question here is negative, right? So what does that mean? Yeah, the shortest ones tend to be the incorrect ones, the negative answers. Yeah. Would anyone like to share why they think helping students remember new words is not researchable? Anyone? I appreciate any answer. 4 people answered number 7. Okay. Are native English speakers better than non-native English speakers? Anyone would like to say, to explain why? Just give like one answer, one explanation, one sentence. Yeah, please. Thank you. Yeah, number 5. Mm-hmm. That's the answer that I was looking for. Thank you. Very good. Thank you. Yeah, it's very subjective. It's very subjective. That's right. Yeah. And the assumption is already there. English native speakers are better. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Thank you for a very good answer. Maybe one more before we move on. Oh, well, okay. Yeah, stay here. One more person, maybe? No? Okay, so let's just move on. Next, thank you. Okay, so those are the topics that are not researchable. Ways to help students speak confidently in English, helping students remember new words, how can teachers make students enjoy reading, are native English speakers better than non-native English speakers? Why are they not researchable? First is ways to help students speak confidently in English sounds like teaching tips. You're looking for teaching tips. Do you need research? Do you need to do research to know? Do you need to do research to know? No. So teaching tips are not researchable. Okay, but if there's a tip, for example, if you want to help students speak confidently in English, you should do this. For example, can anyone give one answer? Why? Not answer. Can anyone give one way to help students speak confidently in English? One way. Role play. Yeah, role play. Then you want to investigate it. So the question is then, is role playing effective in helping students speak confidently in English? Then that is researchable. But if you're just thinking of what are the ways, and then you find the ways through ChatGPT. You can ask ChatGPT, right? What are the ways to help students speak confidently? And then it will give you a long list of tips to help students speak confidently. And then teaching tips, classroom advice, they are of the same thing. And then general improvement, too broad. Like ways to help students is too broad. And then are native speakers better than non-native English speakers, also too broad. And all these things, all these topics are not researchable because they do not include variables. They do not explore relationships. and they do not have measurable outcomes. So if you want to investigate a specific way to help students speak confidently in English, then that way, like role play, is a variable. Okay, it's a variable. And then speak confidently is the outcome, right? Speak confidently is the outcome, but the outcome must be measurable. So every time you want to explore something, the question is, how are you going to measure it? So what do you mean by confidence in speaking? How do you measure confidence? How do you measure it? Okay, maybe through some rubrics or something, or maybe you time the students or whatever. So you need to have some instruments to measure the outcome. Or maybe ways to help students improve, help students remember new words. How do you measure the outcome? So students will be able to use the new words, the newly taught words. I think that is a bit more straightforward, right? You just give like vocabulary tests, right? And that is measurable. And the way to help students remember words, for example, through pictures. I think lots of research is already done on that, using images to teach vocabulary. So that is a variable, and then the outcome is their test scores on vocabulary. And then for qualitative, these topics can also be, you can also we can also see from the from the qualitative perspective, but these topics cannot be researched because they do not explore experiences, perceptions, or processes. So qualitative is not really about number, okay? So we don't really look at outcomes, but we explore, so for example, students, how students feel towards, let's say, teachers' feedback. So when, for example, when students write an essay and then they get feedback from the teacher, how do they feel towards the feedback and stuff like that. So if we want to explore experiences, perception, or processes, it will become qualitative, but these topics do not explore those things. As I said before, these topics can be answered by ChatGPT. Okay, next. Now, before deciding research topic, we need to determine the research area first. So the background of the study. What area would you like to research? For example, listening, reading, grammar, vocabulary, learner experiences, or teacher experiences. There are many, but I only listed some here because I think these are the areas that we are very familiar with, right? We have taken listening classes, reading classes, writing classes, grammar classes, vocabulary classes, and then we also have our learner experiences. And maybe some of us are already teachers or will be teachers, and so we want to know more about their teachers' experiences. So we need to determine the research area first. And how? The first thing is interest, okay? Interest. What areas interest you most? Vocab, grammar, listening, and so on. And then learning problem. So interest is one thing. Second is learning problem. Which area or skill do you find most challenging? And then experience. What learning or teaching situations made you as a learner feel highly engaged, bored, anxious, motivated, excited, etc. And then can also from our own observation. So as a student ourselves, as a student or as a teacher, what recurring patterns? So humans are really good at detecting patterns. Have we noticed? And we want to know whether that pattern is actually real, or it's just, you know, by chance only. It only happens arbitrarily. It's not systematic. If people just do weird things sometimes, you know what I'm saying? People sometimes do random things, right? But sometimes, most of the times, what they do is actually a pattern. It's already a pattern, something that they already they keep doing. And if that's the case, then it could be a research topic. So for example, that's one observation. Students who are high performers in English, for example, like Mas Fahmi, you are a high performer, right? You are a high achiever. What made you a high achiever? What have you done? And what did you do? And what do you do as a student, as a learner yourself? And then you want to investigate whether what you do is actually a really important factor. Okay. Yeah. Next. So, reflecting on my own, how I chose my primary area of research. My primary area of research is second language grammar. Why? Because I'm really interested in grammar, because I think it's the backbone of the language. It connects vocab, and it helps us fully understand what we listen to and read. So if you hear someone says, yeah, he never saw snow in his life, what is the implication? He never saw snow in his life. And then another says, he has never seen snow in his life. What does it mean? Are the two sentences, the first one using simple past, the other one using present perfect? What does it mean? Are there any differences? If you say, he never saw snow, it can be implied that the person already died. So grammar has meaning, and whereas he has never seen snow, the present aspect means that the person is still alive. So grammar is important, although if we keep thinking about grammar, it will impact our fluency, right? Which is okay at the beginning or intermediate. But the more we focus on grammar, the more we automatize the knowledge. And then grammar has to do with making constructions that have been conventionally accepted to convey meaning, not necessarily always correct, in the sense that if you do not use this form, then it's incorrect. You must use this form to make it correct. It's just the construction, the pattern has been accepted conventionally by the speakers of the language. And then it's also one of my learning problems, my major learning problems. I was bad at grammar. I only scored 53 on my first grammar quiz, and it didn't improve much after that. But then I found myself enjoying learning about meanings conveyed by grammar, which I will explore more in my second session today. So meanings conveyed by grammar. And then observation. When I focus on meaning when teaching grammar, students seem to pay more attention. So this is based on my own experience as a teacher. If I use multimodal activities like using pictures, gestures, I feel it easier to explain, and students in general are engaged. But again, this is my own experience, my own observation. Is it true? That's why I need to do research. Okay. So, how did you choose your? Did you already choose your research area? Yes. Anyone would like to share? And why you chose that research area? Me? Okay. Go ahead. May I know your name? Fedra? Yeah. Yeah. Mm-mm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Who else? Just one more, maybe. No. Okay. Next. Sampai jam berapa, Ibu? Sampai jam berapa? So, please submit. It's anonymous. I don't know who submitted the answers. I would like to see. So, better in one or two words. One or two words. Okay. What is your research area? I should have separated these into two, but I think just put them in one so that faster. It's to make it faster. Okay, grammar, speaking. Communication skill. Can you submit monthly more than once? Or yes, okay. So one is the research area. The other is the prompt. I'm gonna wait until 50. Okay. Yeah. Keep it going. Again, these are just the areas. They are still broad. Okay. And how do you narrow your research area down? So vocabulary, it's very broad, and you cannot do research on that. Okay. So the research topic must be very specific. Which is why the first activity that we did, the longest options tend to be the positive ones, because it's very detailed. You can even mention the context in which your study takes place. You can even mention that. It's even highly recommended, so that the readers know the uniqueness of your study. And we are in social sciences. That means the findings from our research cannot be 100% replicated in other contexts, because there are so many factors and we can only provide some explanation. Yeah, so let's say vocabulary. What do you want to focus on in your vocabulary topic? So vocabulary can mean single words, can also mean phrases, right? Phrases. Furthermore, what kinds of context do you want to study the appearance of the vocabulary? Is it academic? Is it informal? Is it slang? And then, what do you want to explore? Do you want to explore the teaching or the learning? These involve two different techniques. So with teaching, you will need to do a pre-test, intervention, and a post-test. Okay, so a pre-test, for example, it's pretty much like what we do in class as a teacher, but in class we just administer the test after we teach, right? By doing so, by doing so, we actually don't know whether students make improvement because the data we have only after teaching. If we want to know improvement, we need to have 2 sets of data. You know what I'm saying? So we need to have a pre-test and then a post-test, right? So pre-test before we teach, post-test after we teach. And then we also want to know if our teaching can have a lasting impact. So we test the students again, for example, 2 weeks after we teach. All right? So we repeatedly test students. Now, that can be research. That will be a good research topic, and you can do it, right? Other areas like experiences and anxiety. How do you measure anxiety? How do you measure anxiety? Can you use tests? No. You use what? Surveys. That's right. You use surveys because psychological traits, anxiety, motivation, grit, enjoyment, those things are latent constructs and can only be explored through questionnaires, surveys. Now, interviews can be done usually in a mixed methods. So first you do quantitatively, and then you want to get further or deeper insights. So you pick, let's say, 5 students or 5 participants to talk more about their, let's say, anxiety. So different research areas require different types of instruments. Okay, like corpus. Yeah, corpus means using a large language data. Yeah. So, anyone else? Anyone would like to ask specific things about their topic here while we are at this? So you can ask questions about your research topic now. So don't be afraid because you're not asked to give answers. You have the opportunity to ask one thing about your research topic. Yeah. Yeah, Mega. Student. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I see. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But if we to be honest, no. With corpus data, we tend to look for frequencies, right? Because that's what corpus is really good at, frequencies. And then you want to connect it to readability. Then you need to find a test that measures readability. I think there's some. I mean, I've read 1 or 2 articles about readability. But I cannot locate it now. But there are some instruments, and then you want to connect to. Then the statistical analysis would be chi-square, right? Pearson correlation. Yeah, Pearson correlation. Okay, but yeah, you need to find that readability instrument. Yeah. The right one, okay, yeah. All right, thank you. Yeah, all these are good, but then again, these are still very broad. But it helps you decide where to focus on. Okay, this is a really important step. Yeah, so next. Oh, sorry, can you please move backwards? English articles. I'm sure what you meant by articles is the and a, right? Yeah, it is a really interesting topic, and articles, English articles are among the, I think, one of the few English grammar forms that cannot be taught. That cannot be taught, especially to articleless languages, like articleless language speakers like us. We do not have articles. So for example, matahari terbit di timur. How would you say it in English? It's simple. Sun or the sun? Why the sun? Why not sun? There is only one, yeah, the sun. And then, let's say the context is the wedding. It's a wedding. And then the narrator of the story says, and the bride, the groom puts on a ring or the ring. Okay. So it depends on whether the reader is familiar with the context and whether the practice itself is already widely recognized. The practice of putting on the wedding ring. So if it is already clear, then you say the wedding ring. So it's very complex, right? So it's not just about whether the noun, the referent is mentioned before or not. It's more about your knowledge. So yeah, not anxiety. English articles are quite a fascinating topic, and in fact, lots of studies on written corrective feedback have focused on teaching articles. Yeah, okay. Next. Oh, I think, okay then. So my own major broad research topics, I pursue two major research questions. First one is what makes learning second language grammar difficult? And second one is how can I make it less difficult for learners? So that's my areas of research, my major areas of research. So what would be your major broad research topics? But you could think about these later. So these two research questions help me. But then again, this is me, who is an academic, full-time academic. Okay, we probably don't want to be an academic, right? Dulu apa joke-nya? Jadi dosen, ngomongnya sedos, gajinya sesen. Terus gajinya sesen. Terus kaya dalam berpendapat, gak begitu kaya dalam pendapatan. This is my career. So this is my career. Although I'm actually a teaching focused academic, that means I'm not I'm not required to do research, to publish like every year, every semester, no. But as an academic, this is really good for my portfolio and to ensure my livelihood. It's my bowl of ketuk atau apa ya? Bukan bowls of rice. Yeah. So, but for your research project, this could also be helpful for the time being. Okay, next. So let's move on. I think this is quite similar to the previous one. Which of these aspects make a research study publishable? We got originality, sophisticated or complex academic vocabulary, strong methodology, large sample size, theoretical contribution, hot topics, valid data analysis, descriptive explanations, clear and strong argumentation, and implications for teaching practice. Okay, next. Yeah, so choose. I think you can also submit multiple times. You choose more than one. You can choose more than one. Click all that apply. That was a reduplication. Yeah, you can ignore this. Well, just pick. If you choose 5, then choose 10 too. If you choose 5, choose number 10 too, because they're the same. So all make a research study publishable. Okay. Gak ada pertanyaan jebakan ini. I'm gonna wait until 40. You know, it's good to submit your answers like this because you want to test your knowledge. And that's also a good learner should do. Testing out our hypothesis, our assumption, right? We also want our students to submit their answers because not just to make the classroom lively or productive, but also for them, it's good because they can test out their hypothesis. And it's in fact one of the theory of second language acquisition about the role and importance of speaking and writing. If you do not speak or if you don't write, you will never test out what you know. You think you know, but then when it comes to putting it out, you realize that you don't quite know, right? You suddenly, oh, I don't know the word for that. But in reading, I can guess what it means. In speaking or in writing, I suddenly don't know the word. Yeah, that means there's a hole in our knowledge. But sometimes the knowledge is not complete yet. So what we know, we only know it partially. And to make it complete, we need to test out our knowledge. We need to test out what we currently know. Yeah, so it's really important to test out your knowledge by submitting your answers. Okay, it's already 43. Yeah, next. It's loading. Yeah, so I'm just gonna focus the aspects that are not the ones that make the research study publishable. The first one is sophisticated or complex academic vocabulary. So the example there, the study endeavored to elucidate the multivarious ramifications, blah, blah, blah. Most of the, I can say, especially in our field, applied linguistics and English language teaching, the consumers of our research, the readers of our papers, do you think they are English native speakers? No. So what's the use of heavy language like this? There's no use of it. Even the editors, the reviewers are probably not native speakers. And they probably hate it as much as you do. Right? So do not, I mean, sometimes it's good to, to vary your vocabulary. So instead of saying examine, you want to say endeavor to. It's good, but you can also probably use a corpus tool to see whether the word endeavored is actually used by researchers. Probably very, very few authors use endeavored. And is it a good idea to use it? I mean, again, it's okay to vary your language. But to put, to use multiple heavy words in a single sentence like that, multiple big words in a single sentence like that would be a bad idea. Why? Again, one is the readers are mostly not L1 speakers of English. And second, what is the aim? We want our readers to understand, or we want to show off our language, which we probably get from ChatGPT, right? You can ask ChatGPT, please make it academically heavy. You can do that. ChatGPT can do that. But then the point is, we want our readers to understand, right? But not by using baby talk, baby language, but using proper and clear language, vocabulary. So clear, precise, accessible. So easily comprehensible. Discipline appropriate vocab. So for example, acquisition, the word acquisition in the field of second language acquisition means the learning of a new language. So that is discipline appropriate vocab. But in law, acquisition means, or in economics, acquisition means acquiring a company. But the idea is the same. You get something. As a side note on second language acquisition, it is a total misnomer. Why? Because it's heavily biased on Western countries, especially American people, English-speaking people who are mostly monolingual speakers. So when they learn a new language, it becomes the second language. But in multilingual countries like Indonesia, I'm sure most of you, all of you, speak at least speak Japanese, Indonesian, and probably another language. If one of your parents speak another language, let's say Sundanese. So English is not our second language. Indonesian is probably our second language. Well, in my case, it is my first language because my parents they spoke different languages, so they bahasa pemersatunya bahasa Indonesia, which is something that I really regret. A large sample size. So, of course, the bigger the better, but it's also the more costly, right? The more effort you put. And then sufficient sample size. So there's this statistical technique called power analysis. Don't even bother to study that. I've never even done that. So, for example, if you want if the doctor wants to know whether you are high in cholesterol rate, all the people like us, do they need to take lots of blood from us? No, just enough, right? Just enough. Otherwise, we're just gonna donate it, right? Or after that, if not, we'll be really weak. So just enough. The idea is not the more the better. The idea is just enough. And in statistics, there's a technique to know what is enough there. So not the bigger the better is not always justified. And sometimes a small sample size is justifiable given the context. For example, your population, the subjects who we want to explore are very few in numbers, small in numbers. And then the study is a pilot or preliminary investigation. And then we also administer multiple tests. And we also intensively collect the data. So large sample size is not always the major concern. And then hot topics. Using ChatGPT in learning English. Now I think every time there's a seminar or workshop, it's always about AI, Gen AI. Well, it's not about which topic is currently hot, because unless we can find a gap there, which we will talk about later. What's important is whether the hot topics are important or significant, and then whether it is feasible or original. We will talk more about that. And then this is, I would say, this is a rookie mistake. You know, a rookie mistake, a kind of mistake that novice authors, I was one and probably still am, do or make. So we tend to describe, and our writing is reads like a kind of explanation that you would find in a textbook. And if it reads like that, it's pretty much a factor that makes your research rejected, your paper rejected. So our writing should be analytical, critical, and then synthetic. So let's say you want to let's say explore, anxiety. You need to first define what anxiety is. You need to define that. That is really important. What is anxiety? And then you will need to review studies on anxiety. What have they found? From what have they found, you synthesize the finding at the end. So that's pretty much how we write literature review. So what are your concepts that you want to explore? For example, articles. What are articles? And then what are the studies? So you identify the studies that have been done on articles. What are their findings? So you summarize them. So this author, these people conducted a study on articles with these participants, and then they found blah, 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 blah. Another researcher conducted a study on articles with another group of students, and then they found that blah, 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 blah. After doing that several times, then you synthesize the findings. Synthesizing is not the same as summarizing. Synthesizing means you bring together ideas and show how they relate to one another. Well, in a sense, it looks like a summarizing, but summarizing means you just point one by one. But synthesizing, you draw benang merahnya. Benang merahnya. Yeah. Okay, next. So let's focus on this: originality, theoretical contribution, and argumentation. So, sometimes we have an idea. Oh, I want to do this topic. I want to choose this topic. I want to do this research. And then I start with the literature. That's always the next step. So the next step is looking at the literature. And there seems a gap in the literature. But then when you read more carefully, it's already occupied. It's already occupied. So that means the gap is no longer there. And what makes it worse is that your idea was not that new. It's already 30 years old, proposed by someone, and that idea doesn't sell out. Gak laku. So your idea, you think it's exciting, it's new, it's innovative. Apparently someone 30 years ago already had that idea, and that idea is not popular at all. So, do you still bother to explore the idea? Do you? Maybe not. But maybe there's something wrong with the methodology that you can point out. And that's probably why the paper has not been cited. That paper is not popular. And so you want to redo the study. So it's not always a bad idea. Okay? Maybe that paper is so problematic that nobody wants to, decide. But the idea here, the point here is we need to read the literature on our chosen topic. It is the only way to do these things, to introduce a new exploration, extend, challenge, refine existing knowledge, and build a logical flow using rhetorical moves. We're going to learn more about rhetorical moves after this. And academic writing is a starting point for academic reading is a starting point for academic writing. So, without academic reading, we can never write academically. It's like if you want to work out, then you need to eat. So when you eat, so academic reading is like eating. So I cannot overemphasize this, especially now in the era of Gen AI, where you can just upload an article to Gen AI and ask Gen AI to produce a summary. Why is it not a good idea? And then you don't see how the authors argue. So the flow of argumentation can only be learned through reading. Okay. When I taught students in Australia, I taught students academic reading, and they were asked to write an essay why they should not write an essay telling about their experience reading an AI-generated summary and reading the article by themselves. They keep pointing out that AI-generated summary is mostly consisting of like points, so it misses a great deal of details. Whereas if you read the article yourself, you will find the details there. But interestingly, almost all students said the same thing. So it made me wonder whether they got that from ChatGPT too. So you can just ask ChatGPT, right? What's the difference between reading an AI-generated summary and reading the article yourself? Yeah. I think the most important thing about the reading academic articles ourselves is learning the argumentation. Okay. And unfortunately, academic papers are not novels. They lack the excitement. They lack the plots. They lack visual. The only visuals they have is data visuals, right? Yeah, which is equally or even more boring, right? So they're not made for entertainment. Unlike reading short stories, even reading news is probably more fun than reading. So doom scrolling is probably more fun, right? Doom scrolling, right? Yeah. Yeah. So doom scrolling is probably more fun than although it's called doom scrolling for a reason, right? You will feel really depressed after reading so much negative news, right? But then, so it needs a great deal of motivation to read. But the outcome is really good. It helps us develop our argumentation skills. It helps us develop our critical thinking. So start with academic reading. We will never know whether there's a gap in the literature without reading. So we need to gather all relevant articles, sharing the same topic. Do we need to read all of them? Just the abstract. But but with articles that you feel are quite interesting, then try to read the whole. The methodology part is probably the most challenging one, especially the data analysis. It's okay if you can just read it, just skim it, yeah. But when you want to write your results, then you can read the result section of the paper, of some papers, and see how they word the results. Yeah, although again, you can ask ChatGPT to do that. Right. Yeah. Okay, next. So these are the rhetorical moves in academic writing. Now, the first 4 points are usually the structure of an introduction. So we need to establish a situation in which the current study is placed, and that's your research area. Your research area. So if it's about vocabulary, then the first sentence must be about vocabulary. Vocabulary learning or vocabulary teaching, depending on what you want to focus on. And then reporting of previous research. You simply need to, you don't have to report fully, just to make sure that you know where the gap is. So which studies have been, not have been done, but which studies that can support your arguments. And then you can say there's a lack of knowledge or a problem in this field. And then significance, that's the fourth. So yeah, the first 5 points, or even 6, the first 6 points are part of the structure of an introduction. So significance, we have theoretical significance and we have practical significance. Probably it's easier for us to think of the practical significance, but actually if we've done our literature reading, we have done our reading of the literature, pointing out the theoretical significance would be a bit more straightforward than the practical significance. Because previous study also expressed their significance, their theoretical significance. So be careful. So significance here is what the editors and reviewers see is the theoretical significance. Okay, the theoretical significance. How would our research contribute to knowledge, not to practice only? Argues, and then means is the methods, outcomes is the results, and discussion, you know it. So limitations is the constraints of the study. So this is different from the one that you put in the research proposal. So the limitation that you put in the introduction of your research proposal is mostly to state the scope of your study. So your study, for example, focus on vocabulary, but then academic vocabulary. So, and then academic vocabulary here, what you mean academic vocabulary is phrases, collocations, not single words. So that's what you put in your introduction of your research proposal. But here, in the limitation section, you think of other limitations that may affect interpretation of the findings and what future research or work should address and why. Okay.
Pardon to interrupt, sir. I want to remind that the time is 10 minutes left.
Thank you. Yeah, just move on. Okay, so yeah, next. Just do this. Which ones are not ways to identify gaps in the literature? I'm gonna wait until 25. Remember, the question is which ones are not ways to identify them. Gonna wait until 20 then. Yeah, okay. So only one limited focus in previous studies that everyone agrees is one of the ways to identify gaps. Okay, that's good. Wait, okay. I shouldn't have said that then. Okay, next. Yeah, so there's only two. There's only two. These are the two ways that are not the ways to identify gaps in literature. Classroom problems. For example, teachers have difficulty in increasing students' willingness to speak in English. Therefore, it is significant to explore the reasons. Now, that is the practical significance. Okay? But it may not be a theoretical significance. Why? Because there are probably already lots of studies exploring this and proposing new ways to increase students' willingness to communicate based on the findings. Find and read the literature first. What aspects are understudied in those studies? It is important to examine. And then the next question is it important to study or to examine those understudied aspects? Is it important? And if you say it's important, you explain why, and that becomes your theoretical significance. Trending topic. Research on Gen AI use in language learning is proliferating in recent years, so it is important to study this topic. Why is it not a good idea? Because popular or trending topics may already be saturated. Saturated means already lots of people doing that. And if it's saturated, then it's hard to find a gap. Novelty. Yeah. And in fact, this is what Guangwei Hu, one of the big names in applied linguistics, point out. So he's an editor in journal for academic writing academic purposes or something like that. So he said, so many studies on perceptions and challenges of Gen AI. So if this is your research topic, consider dumping it. Okay. There are so many studies on perceptions and challenges of Gen AI among every possible demographic. Teachers, students, males, females, probably non-binary genders as well, maybe, novices, experts, and even the family pet. So it's hard to find a gap if the topic is very popular. You need to read more, right? But yeah, so don't simply ride the wave, but chart new courses. The best research is not about the hottest technology, but about the most enduring questions. Okay, next. So now let's practice this. Let's see how rhetorical moves are applied and how a gap is identified in a journal. I think this is important, so let's practice. Move next. So can you read it? Yeah. Identify the rhetorical move. I think you can only choose one, but well, let's see. Is the image clear? Klik. Klik apa ya, Bu? Tadi gambarnya mana? Oh ya. Ya. I think I put the correct answer. If it's correct, then you get the feedback right away. Right? I'm gonna wait until 10. No? It doesn't show? Yeah, I think everyone agrees it. Did you get the feedback?
Not yet. Still reading.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is supposed to be another session, right? Academic writing. Maybe next time? But I've already given you the slide if you want to share it with them. Okay, next please. Yeah, just next. Or we can just do it quickly. Next. Learner engagement with feedback significantly influences feedback effectiveness. However, the interaction between feedback timing engagement remains underexplored in SLA writing research. So this is, in other words, significance. So this is significance. In other words, studying how learners perceive and engage across different timing conditions can help clarify the mechanisms behind its effectiveness. So this is the significance. So one way to understand, if you want to study how to identify these rhetorical moves, you can use Gen AI. Okay, so you copy and paste the part of the section, or even the whole section. Let's say introduction, the whole section. You copy and paste it to Gen AI, and then you ask it to identify the rhetorical moves. Okay, and then you can interact with ChatGPT, asking why this is gap, why this is reporting previous research, and so on. Okay, next. Yeah, next, just next. 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 Yeah. So a study will be publishable if it is written, if its report is written argumentatively, analytically, and academically. But what does it mean? Let us see how a published research report is written, focusing on the introduction. I don't think we have time for this too, for this either. So next. Yeah. I think you can ask ChatGPT to identify which one it is this one. Yeah, because we don't have time for this. Just next. It requires another session. Focus on academic writing. Yeah, move next. Next. So these are the things that we need to reflect on. Does our research aim to fill the gaps in the literature? And what are the gaps? And then how do we argue for the importance of filling in those gaps? So that's the theoretical significance. In the literature review, is our writing argumentative and analytical rather than merely descriptive? Do we integrate theory, research, and sources effectively to support our argument? Now this is important. So if you want to explore, let's say, how learners learn English articles, what theoretical framework should you use? So for example, the theoretical framework is, would they know? Let's say the theoretical framework is usage-based, and you explain what usage-based is in the literature review, and then how you can use it to explain your findings and stuff like that. And are our ideas logically developed, clearly linked, and then are our sources recent, relevant, and credible? Preferably within 5 years, the study that you review. You can even use these questions. So you upload your article to ChatGPT, and then ask these questions. And then ask ChatGPT to point out. So you can use Gen AI to be the reviewer of your paper. Okay. Okay, next. Yeah, so I'm gonna try to be quick. So there are several methods. The first one is quantitative. I talked about this earlier. Qualitative. So you explore engagement, experience, belief, attitudes, behavior. And then the kind of analysis is usually thematic, but depending on the data. But it's not enough to rely on interview data. Okay? So the idea of qualitative, we often think that the data that we collect is from interviews. But a good qualitative research report is not solely based on interview data. There are other things that we need to consider. For example, content of text, documents like journals, reports, notes. So do not rely on interview data only. Why? Because it will be like cherry picking. We only pick the excerpts that support our arguments. Okay. Next, mixed methods. You combine a mixed method study is, of course, requires more effort, but can increase the likelihood of getting it published. So, for example, you examine relationships, and then you use questionnaires to make predictions, and then you use semi-structured interview to corroborate the results. So that's usually the qualitative purpose, to corroborate the quantitative results. If you have questions, if you want to know more about what a semi-structured interview is, go read the literature or just ask Gen AI. Exploring effects, this is quantitative. And then, yeah, just do it yourself, read it yourself. But the third point, there's this new methodology called Q methodology. So it explores people's perspective on complex and subjective matters. This is a recently new method. Yeah, Q methodology. It's part of, it's also a mixed method. Next. Usually one research project can yield at least 2 papers. The first paper can be narrative or systematic review. It's basically your literature review on steroids. Your literature review on steroids. It's just, you make it bigger. And you expand it, and therefore lots of synthesizing findings and stuff. Next. Just next. This is about statistics. Next. Still 5 minutes, right? Next. Okay. So the reason why we major in language in English, because we hate maths. Right? Yeah. And if you scored 50, at least 50 on your national math exam, do you still have it? National exam, math, then you were far better than I was. I finished high school back in 2002. So we call it EBTANAS, Evaluasi Belajar Tahap Akhir Nasional. And Matematika was not a compulsory subject, but was still tested. Right? Even until now? Yeah. Even though I was a social science student. And how much did I score? Out of 100? 24. It's even less than a quarter. 24, yeah? But now I mostly use quantitative methods. I use statistics. So statistics deals with number, that's obvious, but you are not required to have like advanced mathematical knowledge. Math is just the base. All right, so especially with software, we don't do the calculation by hand, right? And then now, even with Gen AI, the numerical values that the software produces, yields, you can just ask how to interpret it, right? Yeah. So, what's important here is this. The use of inferential statistics, so it's not descriptive statistics. Descriptive statistics is average and standard deviation. Inferential statistics is when you use like t-test, ANOVA, and stuff like that. And the use of inferential statistics is exponentially increasing, making quantitative research predominant in the field. And this is a movement referred to as the methodological turn. Statistical literacy is a necessary skill to be acquired by not only ELT researchers, but also teachers, practitioners. Because without this skill, we are unable to read the majority of articles. So if we want to publish an article, if we want our study to be published, the probability is higher if it is quantitative. Okay, if it is quantitative. And then TESOL lecturers and students generally understood basic descriptive statistics but lack advanced statistical knowledge. But thank God for ChatGPT. And to improve, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you can scan this. You can learn statistics from zero. Here, Ladal website is developed by the university where I did my PhD, University of Queensland. You can learn statistics from zero. Yeah, but it uses R. Give me 5 minutes, Mas Fahmi. Okay. Next. Next. Okay. I'm just gonna be quick, so I'm gonna give examples of my own papers. So in this, so if we want to explore effects, so we conduct intervention studies. We compare performance before and after giving students in an intervention, and then the tests. The statistical tests, pair samples t-test, repeated measures ANOVA, and so on. And that's my own study. Next. And if you want to explore relationship among constructs like motivation, grit, enjoyment, anxiety, and boredom, then we conduct survey research. So we ask hundreds of students to complete a questionnaire. And this is a study that I did with my colleague from China. So we explored the roles of language learning curiosity and classroom anger in shaping AI mediated. So this could be a potential research topic for you. So language learning is emotion saturated. Yeah, so we experience multiple emotions. We can feel disappointed, we can feel excited, we can feel bored, we can feel curious, we can even feel anger. We don't like our teachers. So that's what anger is. We don't like how the teachers teach, how the teacher teaches in the classroom. The teacher is so boring. Or the teacher's explanation is not clear. The teacher's teaching technique is not very helpful. That makes me angry. That makes me unsatisfied. So we can explore that. And again, this is a latent construct, which means it can only be examined through a survey. And the statistical analysis is factor analysis. And in the end, it's structural equation model. And I had never done SEM before, but again, thank goodness for ChatGPT. So yeah, I actually use Claude, C-L-A-U-D-E. Claude is far better. Okay, Claude. Yeah. So this is pretty much how you could structure your report. And in the end, you should say something about the implications of your study. Okay, next. Comparing groups. Comparing groups. Okay, just next. I don't. Maybe two more minutes. This is using learner corpus. Next. And this is qualitative. This is a study that I recently did a couple of months ago. I did with my colleagues at the University of Queensland. And I use thematic analysis. So if you know quantitative, qualitative analysis is a piece of cake. Direkam lagi. No. Yeah. Okay. So never mind. Yeah. Move on. Next. So what is your research topic, and what do you want to explore in your research? Effects, correlations, group comparison, learner language, learner experience, belief, attitudes, behavior. If your study is quantitative, what kind of statistical analysis do you need to run? And if your study is qualitative, what sorts of data do you need to use? What kinds of approaches do you need to apply, and so on. With statistics, again, Gen AI can be very helpful, but again, it may not always be accurate. Okay, so you don't check the accuracy by asking other Gen AI. Bodoh aja, ya kan? So you need to consult maybe a statistician, or I'm sure there's some statistic lecturers in UAD at UAD. You can consult with them, and yeah, or read books. Yeah. Next. I think after this it's done. So yeah, I mean you can submit your research topics here while Mas Fahmi closes the my session. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause to Mr. David Wijaya, PhD.
Oh, wait. Go back to the. Did you close it already? Yeah. Just next. This next. Press next. Yeah. Apparently there's some. Yeah, you can screenshot. Just final remarks. Just go to final remarks. It just. Okay. Wait. People are taking picture. The first thing here is what's the reason? The main reason I gave. One of the main reasons I gave to an article that I recently reviewed. So it's a collection of points instead of a strong problem to gap to purpose. So the writing should move from problem and then gap and then purpose, aim. Again, problem, gap, and then purpose. That should be the structure of our introduction. It's not a collection of points. By that I mean, oh, there's a problem in this, and then you move on to another, and then you move on to another. But then eventually your study doesn't address any of those points. You don't do it like that. Okay. Yeah, just next. If you took a picture of it, you can ask in our Q&A. So, and this is also self-check before submission. I think if you open it, you can just screenshot it. Yeah. Screenshot it. You can, again, ask ChatGPT to review. Yeah. But then be careful. Once you upload your article, it will be stored in their database. So, do you want to risk that or not? Partially. Okay. Yeah, next. So, how to develop your student research project? Work collaboratively. Choose a topic that can include multiple factors or aspects. And then approach a lecturer who teaches the broad topic of your research to be your supervisor. Use Gen AI to help you understand and learn, not as a shortcut. Okay? And then use Gen AI to help you with stats and read extensively. And then you share the insights you learn with your friends, with your research collaborators. And finally, next. Doing publishable research requires skills that may seem to be possessed only by talented people, right? Only by very nerdy people like me. Look, my glass, this is minus 8.5. MashaAllah. And then it's luckily not cylinder, but I also have plus. Yeah, so I thought once you have plus, it reduces. Like minus 8.5, you have plus 1, then it becomes minus 7, right? Well, apparently the effect is doubled. So you still have difficulty in seeing far, and then now you have difficulty in seeing short, right? Seeing near. So double suffering. Yeah, so now every time I need to read, I have to take off my glass. Yeah, I'm 42, so that makes sense, right? So without learning, talent cannot flourish. Without will, there is no learning, says Zhuge Liang Kongming. We grow our talent by learning new skills, and doing research is one powerful way to do so. So do not see this as, see this as a long-term investment, okay? Learning research skills, critical and analytical thinking, judgment, originality, creating new knowledge is more important than ever, especially in the age of generative AI, because such skills will not ever be replaced by AI. This is my generation, David generated final remarks, not AI. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. David. Probably our time is now over, but right now we have Q&A session. Well, if you want to ask a question, please raise your hand and please don't hesitate to ask. Okay. Okay.
Ya, silakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Hoironisa. You can call me Icha. My question is, as a researcher, which one we have to focus first between how to understandable our research to the reader, and then how our manuscript when we submit in the journal is proper. You know what I mean? Yes, just as we know that some journal sometimes focus on our English and our manuscript, maybe in Q1, Q2, L Sapphire, just like that. Yeah, that's my question. Okay. No, there's only one question. Sorry.
Yeah, just answer direct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mbak Icha. So if I'm not mistaken, you're asking whether we should focus on the language or we should focus on the reader. So that's the language, right? Manuscript. Okay. So about that. So it's all in one place. So some most common mistakes. So I've been reviewing several articles for Q1 journals, and I've also reviewed some papers from Indonesia, and some of them had that kind of structure. So mentioning all points instead of clear argumentation, of clear flow of argumentation, like from problem, gap, purpose. And if we remember the rhetorical move, so the problem, significance of our study, which is and then the gap, and then the problem, gap, significance. So if we identify a gap, we need to argue why this gap is important to address. And then the purpose, the study is aimed at blah, 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 to fill in that gap. And now with Gen AI, English is no longer, the language is not obstacle anymore as it was in the past, because we can always just ask ChatGPT to check, proofread, and stuff like that, and even make it sound more academic. But always put that in your acknowledgement. I use the authors use ChatGPT to proofread only, not to generate any text. Okay, because if you use it to generate text, and then it's already a violation. Okay, use it to proofread is quite common nowadays. It's unavoidable. So we need to learn how to structure the argument that way, so that it satisfies the readers and then the editors. Did I answer your question? Is there anything that I missed?
Indonesia.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Mohon maaf atas my poor English. Oke, maksud dari pertanyaan saya adalah yang mana yang lebih yang akan kita lebih fokuskan dari artikel kita bisa memahamkan pembaca dengan ketika dengan kita itu fokus kepada manuskrip kita. Yang kita tahu bahwa ketika kita mempublikasikan artikel di jurnal itu kita harus benar-benar memperhatikan our English, patternnya dan lain semacamnya. Yang saya tahu itu pernah saya lihat di some article itu Elsevier yang saya tahu yang saya pernah cari tahu itu sangat fokus kepada English kita di artikel tersebut yang lebih sederhana, mudah difahami, dan kita ini kan di Indonesia sebagai bukan native ya, kita sebagai bahasa asing di sini. Lalu bagaimana fokusnya yang mana dulu atau bagaimana kita? Begitu. Ya.
Ya, sekali lagi dengan adanya AI, mulai khawatir bahasa Inggris kita jelek di tulisan. Jadi AI bisa membetulkan kesalahan grammar kita dan juga pemilihan kata kita yang kurang akademik. Tapi memahamkan pembaca di situ juga berarti tulisan akademik kita yang tadi saya kasih contoh di awal tidak menggunakan bahasa yang kosakata yang terlalu berat, kosakata yang mudah dipahami, tapi juga tidak terdengar sangat informal. Jadi yang penting dalam penulisan itu argumentasi itu dan kesalahan grammar sekarang kita punya solusinya, Grammarly dan ChatGPT dan sebagainya. Karena itu yang lebih penting adalah alur argumentasi itu sendiri. Ketika kita menulis klaim, misalnya motivation is very important in language learning. Motivation motivation drives students behavior towards bla 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 bla. Nah, ketika kita menulis klaim seperti itu, apakah kita mencantumkan sumbernya atau tidak? Jadi setiap klaim yang kita tulis di artikel kita harus ada sumbernya. Dan bahasanya pun tidak perlu terlalu berat seperti yang tadi kita lihat, ya. Gunakan bahasa yang accessible, tapi tentu jangan menggunakan kosakata yang mungkin kita dengar dari dari film. Cuma permasalahannya begini, 70% bahasa akademik itu adalah bahasa sehari-hari. 70%. Sekitar 70% bahasa akademik itu adalah bahasa sehari-hari. Sisanya baru bahasa teknis, sisanya baru penggunaan technical discipline related vocabulary. Makanya penggunaan kosakata yang seperti tadi multivarious dan lain sebagainya itu kan tidak ada di dalam bahasa sehari-hari. Itu sebaiknya tidak digunakan karena membuat orang kesulitan membaca. Tapi untuk jurnal itu sendiri, mereka memperhatikan alur argumentasi kita, lalu bagaimana kita mendukung argumen kita itu dengan bukti. Nah, buktinya adalah sources yang kita kutip. Itu buktinya. Setiap klaim yang tidak ada buktinya, kita perlu tone down. Misalnya dengan menggunakan hedging words seperti is likely to, could cause, could make, might cause someone, might cause learners to bla 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 gitu. Ya, itu membutuhkan sesi khusus sendiri. Karena sesi ini menurut saya mengenalkan coba lebih luas apa yang sebetulnya diperlukan gitu. Academic writing hanya salah satunya. Itu penting, tapi seberapa bagus academic writing kita kalau metodenya tidak benar atau tidak cocok dan tidak ada signifikansinya, tidak ada gaps yang disasar, maka paper kita ditolak. Saya kasih contoh singkat aja. Kemarin saya reject satu artikel, itu mencoba menghubungkan anxiety dalam menulis dengan dengan ini data dari saraf. Jadi dia ingin membuktikan bahwa anxiety itu muncul dalam writing, tidak hanya dibuktikan dengan kuesioner, tapi juga dengan data dari EEG, encelopa bla bla bla. Pokoknya meneliti neuron saraf-saraf otak gitu. Tapi saya tolak karena tidak ada signifikansinya. Dan signifikansinya adalah buat apa pakai meneliti ini syaraf untuk mengetahui anxiety. Dan anxiety itu ada banyak dimensi. Data dari itu saraf, nggak tahu itu apakah anxiety atau excitement, dan apakah dimensinya itu, apakah ini menyasar dimensi tertentu, kita nggak bisa tahu. Jadi tidak ada signifikansinya. Dan editor setuju dan di reject, gitu. Oke, yang lainnya?
Oke, anyone else? Oh,
ya,
silahkan, Mbak.
I think you can speak loud enough, right? Qualitative study, I think a good reviewer should know that they cannot expect generalizability of the findings. In fact, qualitative findings, if gathered enough from multiple qualitative studies, can become the basis for quantitative studies. Because through our deep exploration of subjects or participants, or let's say experiences or perceptions, factors emerge, the trends emerge, and the quantitative study will address the issue whether these trends or these factors are meaningful or can be accepted as contributing factors. So qualitative research has its own rights to be significant in the field, as long as again the study. Yeah. So what is important is the gap that we find in the literature and why it is important to address that gap. So in my qualitative research, in my qualitative paper, so it's based on previous qualitative studies exploring how learners engage with feedback from ChatGPT. And what's the gap that I try to address? The first is these studies have all been done with English as a second language students. In my study, my participants were Indonesian as a second language students and Spanish as a second language students. So that's one gap. Why is it important to address that gap? We need more data, we need more insights from students or learners who studied other languages. Why do we need those insights? Because there are teachers who teach them too, right? And these teachers need relevant findings, not only findings from English as a second or foreign language. And the second gap is the previous studies only focus on how students engage with feedback only. When we interact with ChatGPT, we ask ChatGPT to give feedback. Sometimes we don't understand what the feedback is. Or sometimes we want to learn more. For example, ChatGPT said you should use, okay, one example is, from my data, my L2 student, Indonesian, second language Indonesian student, wrote, saya belajar bahasa Indonesia sudah banyak tahun. Oke, saya sudah belajar bahasa Indonesia banyak tahun. You know where that came from? I have studied Indonesian for many years. Jadi dia literally translated every word. Sudah banyak tahun. Sudah belajar banyak tahun, many years. And then ChatGPT corrected it to sudah belajar bahasa Indonesia sejak lama. Now, previous studies didn't explore students' further interaction with ChatGPT. My study did. So I allowed students, participants, to ask follow-up questions. And so she did. So she asked ChatGPT, why can I not use banyak tahun? Because I've been using it and my teacher said it was okay. So follow-up questions is another part that I address. It's another gap found in the literature and worthy to be explored because that's what we do. We ask further or follow-up questions. Even when we get corrective feedback from teachers, we would like to know more, right? So the interaction or the engagement with further explanations, I think is worthy of exploring. And that's why my study filled a gap or some gaps in the literature. And that's the things that make it significant. So not about generalizability. Okay. Terima kasih. Ada lagi? Or maybe one more? Or?
Yeah, one more I think perhaps. Is there any question? One more chance? One more person? Please raise your hand if you have any question. Okay. No question?
Again, for qualitative research, do not rely only on interview data. Yeah. Yeah, you need to have like diaries or chat logs or whatever. Yeah, observation. Yeah. So, because if you just explore, you just use interview data, it could be cherry picking. Ada lagi? Just one more? No? Maybe really general question like how many girlfriends did I have? Okay.
Okay.
No, I think.
All right. Unfortunately, the time is over. Yeah. So, okay. As we come to the end of today's session, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to our speaker, Mr. David Wijaya, PhD, for sharing such valuable insights and a treasure of knowledge with us. And let us give a round of applause to our speaker. All right. And right now, I will give it back to the MC. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dio Fahmi Al-Faridi, for guiding today's session. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as we approach to the end of today's workshop, we would like to express our sincere appreciation to Mr. David Wijaya, PhD, FHEA, for sharing his valuable insight, expertise, and experience on conducting publishable ELT research. The token of appreciation will be presented by Head of the Master Program English Language Education. Oh, the former? Oh, okay. The token of appreciation will be presented by the former Head of Master Program English Language Education Study Program. I kindly invite Mr. Ali and also Dr. Ali and Mr. David Wijaya, PhD, to come forward. And thank you very much for everyone. Distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of academic publication workshop conducting publishable ELT research.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi
Lanjut
wabarakatuh.
aja.
Kepada Sekretariat Akademika dan Pengunjung Universitas Ahmad Dahlan, dalam 10 menit lagi kita akan memasuki waktu sholat zuhur. Kami menghimbau Bapak Ibu untuk bersiap-siap menuju masjid guna melaksanakan sholat berjamaah. Demikian pengumuman yang disampaikan. Semoga kita senantiasa mendapat hidayah dan rahmat dari Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
We sincerely hope that today's workshop provide valuable insight and practical knowledge on conducting high-quality research and publishing scholarly work in reputable academic journals. We would like to express our appreciation to everyone who has contributed to the success of this event and to all participants for their active participation and enthusiasm throughout this workshop. May the knowledge and experience shared today inspire us to continue developing our research skill and academic publication. Finally, I am Monica Gita Konipa as the Master of Ceremony. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bagi para peserta mungkin dapat scan barcode untuk mendapatkan sertifikat dari workshop hari ini. Dipersilahkan untuk scan barcode terlebih dahulu. Dan untuk beberapa peserta yang mungkin hadirnya terlambat, bisa mengambil sedikit snack di ruang sebelah. I'm sorry.
dan juga